Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old, and like ancient metals, we hold our own. And we're going to be having a little auction tonight, and we've got a special guest all the way from Australia keeping me company here tonight, and I'll bring him up in a minute. And right now I'm going to run through the instructions for the auction tonight. Let me pull those up. Oh, where did you go? I just had you here a minute ago. Oh, there we are. I don't know why it's not showing it. Okay, here we go. Oh, why? Okay, I'm just going to have to read them off here. I got to adjust my file. It's not pulling them up, but okay, so please be responsible for your bids and follow up through email to secure your purchase in this auction. Email me at longlivecoins@gmail.com with any wins you make throughout the night. Please include what you won along with your YouTube name and address you would like it shipped to. I will send an invoice through Clover to your email, which includes many forms of payment: credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. If none of those methods work, included in the invoice, you can also do Zelle. And if you're using Zelle, that would be a business, Long Live Coins, and or Cash App. Please add 4% to your total if using PayPal. Shipping is $7 in the USA and paid in the first invoice, which opens you a wallet to hold your purchased products until you are ready to ship or purchases become too large for one package shipment. And for international shipping, that's going to vary. And I, for instance, cannot ship silver to Australia per customs. However, osmium can be shipped overseas, and I just sent a piece of osmium to Australia, and it went through just fine. So international shipping, just get in contact with me, and we'll figure out what the shipping will be. The top bidder with the highest total value per auction night or a purchase of osmium earns you a worker bee cell. So one cell equals 1% discount on osmium or $1 off your auction total. And if you come back for another auction, there's only one cell per auction. So but if you come back for the next auction and you're the top bidder, or you buy another piece of osmium, you will get 2 cells and you earn 2% discount on your purchase of osmium or $2 off your auction total. This continues on with 3 cells with a 3% discount, a drone comb, which gets you 4%, a worker comb 5%, and there's actually one more, which is the honeycomb at 6%, is the highest your discounts go. And we will bid in the auction in $1 increments up to 100, and then $5 increments over 100. My guests are always welcome to bid, as well as moderators, and guests get free shipping for helping with the live stream. Insurance bids can be purchased for $5 per item with a $20 coverage, or $10 for a $50 coverage. That is a new rule idea, which can be adjusted. Let me know what you guys think about that. Just trying that for a bit of fun. I know some people like to have insurance. We will run a 3-minute timer and then count it down. 3, 2, 1, sold. And the last but not least, ancient coins sold here come with a lifetime money-back guarantee to be genuine. Ancients or osmium have a 4-month payment plan available with 1 payment a month, and we will ship when the total is received. and you can just email me with details on the payment plan. Obviously, the ancient coins and osmium can get a little bit pricey, so if you would like to set up a payment plan with me, we can work on that. And looks like we have Kevin Hawthorne. Welcome in. Good to see you. Chu, good to see you. Let's bring our guest up here. Think Differently, 3000 again from Australia. Mr. 3D, or not 3D, I'm sorry. Think Differently. TD3.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. It's good to actually speak to you for the first time.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, you're kind of new to the streaming system, right? Is this kind of one of your first streams?
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever done this before. I've never streamed
awesome.
at all. Yeah.
I really appreciate you jumping on with me. So yeah, we'll get going here. I did want to run over, so within those auction guidelines that I just read there, we talk a little bit about the option of getting discounts. So this is a new thing I'm doing on my channel, and during these auctions, this is kind of an auction only discount earning platform. So during these auctions, if you're the highest total value bidder of the night, you'll earn a one sell, which earns you 1% discount in the future. So if you buy a piece of osmium here tonight, or you're the top bidder throughout the night, that will get you a 1% discount or one sell, and you can earn a one sell per auction. And obviously, if you do that the next week, you'll get two sells, and you get all the way up to a honeycomb, which is a 6% discount on your osmium purchase, or $6 off the auction total. So that is how I am working the discount so far. We have 3 people on the discounted rate, and that is Silver Boy Blues coming in on top with the drone comb for 4% on his osmium discount, or $4 off his auction total. Then we got Nickel Stacking with 3 cells at 3% discount, and Space Miner at 3 cells with a 3% discount as well. And that is how we're running that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk quickly with Think Differently here while I get my 2 pieces of osmium uploaded into my spreadsheet. So when we get there tonight, I can easily upload those. A little bit behind as normal. And whilst I am uploading those in the spreadsheet, let's hear a little bit from Think Differently. So if you don't mind, Think Differently, let's hear a little bit about your stacking journey and what got you interested in silver and gold and the metals.
Well, that's a very long story, but it really goes back to before I was actually born. My father, it goes even a long way back. It goes back to World War II, because Australia had sterling silver coins prior to World War II, or even during World War II. In fact, a lot of coins, Australian coins, were during World War II were actually minted in the United States, which is something a lot of people aren't aware of.
I was not aware of that myself.
No. From 1942 to 1944, threepences and sixpences and shillings and 2 shilling pieces were largely minted in the United States. And this was because prior to World War II, Australia was in a very deep depression. And it wasn't until 1939 when the war started with Germany, because Australia, as soon as Britain declared war, Australia became part of that. So that was the point at which there was more silver coins around, or needed, And so they got the US Mint to produce them. And they were produced in Denver.
Yeah,
And
hey, that's nice.
Really, they were produced at the Denver Mint. I've got quite a lot of them, actually. Well, I've got all of them.
Cool.
Yeah, so, and the thing you've got to realize is that those coins, what happened after World War II, right? They changed the content of the silver. So it was 92.5% silver, and then it became 50% silver in 1946 after World War II.
Okay, wow.
Which means, so what this basically means was that there was an arbitrage there between, you got your change or whatever, and if it was one before 1945, you could put it aside, and you had more silver than the 50% one.
Right.
Because of Gresham's law, people would use the 50% one. So my dad, when he was just a kid, just started stacking these things, like the sterling silver ones, and he used the 50% ones for his general spending. So, and what happened was Dad saved these things over, 30 plus years, you know what I mean? And there were boxes of them.
Wow. Nice.
So, and what happened was, how I found out about it was, Dad put on an extension to our house. This would have been about 1976. And so parents' bedroom, they weren't going to be using it anymore. So I ended up getting my parents' bedroom in the house. So, and then I opened the wardrobe, and and at the bottom of the wardrobe, there's all these boxes. And I said, "What's this?" Yeah. He said, "Don't worry about that. That's nothing." But of course, I was always curious. So I opened one of them up and had a look inside, and there was like medicine bottles filled with silver coins.
Wow!
So that's how I first knew about silver stacking. But
what age were you roughly then when you?
I would have been 13. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd have been teen.
Young.
But prior to that, my dad got involved with a numismatic society, because what happened also was, so he started keeping the 50% ones as well, because Australia went decimal currency. They used to use pounds, shillings, and pence before 1966, and when they got rid of all of the silver. Just like in the United States, they got rid of all of the silver in 1965.
65, okay.
And it was 65. That you had 90% silver before then. All the coins were 90. Silver coins were 90% silver.
Yep.
And exactly the same thing happened. Which you start thinking about that in a global, and it didn't happen just here. It happened in other countries as well. All throughout Europe. So this is showing what fiat currency ultimately leads to over time. And, so Dad started, keeping all the 50% as well he could get. And so by that stage, so you would have stopped stacking all the silver coins. But he had interest in buying other coins as well. He had interest in numismatics. So he particularly had an interest in British, coins, silver coins. So he'd buy things like British crowns, and he wasn't into gold though. That was one of the things that intrigued me. He was not into gold at all. So, but what he used to go to, he's one of the first members of a numismatic society here in Victoria.
Really?
And, wow. Yeah. And he's still a member of that club too.
Wow.
And he's nearly 94. So, and he's still mad keen on coins and interested. And I can just if you want to get him distracted, just talk to him about numismatics and coins. He's really into it. So, but he used to go to this club, and I couldn't go because I was only a little kid, and I didn't but Dad always bought me a few different coins, and that's sort of how I usually, because I had an interest in collecting French coins. So, and he used to buy these little French silver coins from all different dates. And he'd get them because people would sell their wares at the, they didn't have the internet back then, so they'd sell their wares at some of these clubs. So if they wanted to sell things, and there was a fellow there. He was actually Serbian, and he used to be a coin dealer, and he'd come there, and he used to take regular trips to Europe and buy coins to sell in Australia.
Oh yeah, cool.
So it was something. And anyway, there was only one time I could go, which was when we had our school holidays, we have our summer holidays in December, because it's December and January.
Okay.
So unlike, United States, it's, June and July.
Yeah.
So we had at that time of the year. So, and there was only one meeting I could go to, which was the last meeting in December. And I used to, every year, I look forward to going to this numismatic club, because it's too late, like they finished like 10 o'clock and I was a little kid, and, you had to get up and go to school the next day. So, yeah, that sort of thing. And I still remember this day. I still remember it like the back of my hand. This guy, he said, "Oh, you can have a look at the coins." And then it was a great big album full of gold coins, right? And I was a little kid, like I was probably 9. And I looked through these coins and I saw these gold coins. And I thought, gee, look at these. They were mostly Australian and British sovereigns and half sovereigns. But he had other things. He had a few American, if I remember rightly, as well, like $10 coins. And I don't know whether there was $20 ones there, but I remember 10. And this is a long time. This is more than 50 years ago. I looked at that and I was fascinated. I thought, gee. And then afterwards I asked Dad, why did you buy gold coins? Oh, no. I'm not buying gold coins. Like I prefer to get 10 coins than buy a gold coin. You know what I mean? So, but you think back then, they were probably like, I don't know, $30 or something like that. For a half sovereign. And it's sort of crazy when you think about that now.
Oh right,
yeah, and that was actually before the Nixon took us off the gold standard, or it would have been around that time. It might have been just after. Yeah, it might have been just after. That was August 71, and I reckon that would have been. I reckon that might have been either that December, or it might have been the following December. Yeah. So, and at that point, the inflation really kicked up. After that happened, the inflation really kicked up in Australia, and it also kicked up in the United States. So, but I was also around at the time when, the Hunt brothers were trying to corner the silver market.
Yeah.
That was 1980. And I remember how high it really got, and more particularly I noticed gold, and everybody was buying gold. And that's, this is always the thing, right? That was the time that Dad did buy some gold. And my brother bought some gold. He just started work, so he got some gold as well. And he only sold his gold just recently because somebody stole his truck, right? So he had to get a new one. So he had to sell his ounce of gold. Yeah. To get something new. So, or to partially pay for it, put it that way.
It's not a bad time. I mean, look.
He got a good price for it. Yeah.
I bet. Yeah. So, probably got a lot of gain there by having that gold reserved if it was.
Yeah, well, they kept it for like, I don't know. They would have bought it in 80, 81, I'd say, around that time.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So yeah, but I sort of only had coins up to that point, and it wasn't really until I didn't really think about this stuff much at all until I really started work, and then you get into this regular thing, you buy your own home and all that sort of, get a mortgage, and when I paid that off, I'm starting to think, well, what am I going to do with the money that's coming in now? How do I invest it? What should I do?
Right.
And this is something people should keep in mind, particularly when you get to that stage. Is, well, what do I do with that money? And I thought, and then Dad was still collecting, and he used to get these catalogs from Nobles Numismatics. Prior to that, he was buying a lot from overseas, from I think it was Spinks and Son in London and Baldwin's in London. And Seabees. There was a company called Seabees as well. They used to. Some of them had lists, and you just purchase them. Others, they were auctions. So that was in London though, and they used to send them out to him.
Is that big auction house that also deals in ancients as well, or is that a different?
Yeah, they do. They would probably deal in ancients. Yeah, Spinks and Son would deal in ancients.
Yep.
Baldwin's would deal. Baldwin's would deal in ancients. Seabees used to deal in, but he was more interested in. He bought a lot of hammered coinage at one stage, like British hammered coinage, pennies, silver pennies. That sort of thing, yeah. So,
cool. Okay, guys in the chat, thank you all for being here. We got Daniel Fretwell. I don't think I've seen you in here. Welcome in. Good to have you. We're just doing a little auction, so we got 1 ounce. It is the Antigua and Barbuda. The info, it just dropped it in the chat and highlighted it. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. It's 2023 Antigua Barbuda, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank 3/9 fine 1 ounce silver coin at $110. So you are welcome to bid on that anytime you would like. We got a 3-minute timer on each piece, so that's the allotted time you have to bid on this, and we'll move on to the next one. Joseph Lopez, welcome in. Mr. Happy Stacker, Rockamos. Thanks for being here, guys. So, yeah, I see. So your dad, when they started switching out to, and debasing the money, he noticed that right off the get-go that, okay, well, this is an obvious debasement. We should start holding on to those. So he had the awareness
awareness to figure that one out.
That's awesome.
But he didn't really talk about stacking and it's being stacking. It was just I don't know. I was the same. Look, I wasn't so much in silver, but in gold. As I was saying about what should I do with my money, and I thought, well, I could buy some gold coins, or I could, and then I sort of thought, I wouldn't mind some ancient coins as well. But initially, I started to buy some gold coins. I bought. And I did it only through auctions. I didn't buy them through dealers, because I looked at the price I'd get on an auction and looked at the price a dealer wanted to charge you for the thing, and I thought, oh, gee, there's a big differential there. I think I'll just try to bid on auctions, which is what I did. And so I still remember the first gold coin I got was a half sovereign from Sydney in 1915 during World War One, and it was only at like $100 or something Australian, which would probably be 70 US.
Okay, yeah,
that's a lot of money. They're a lot of money now. I don't know what they'd be.
Well, if you're buying in auctions like that, I mean, those are obvious, especially with those big names. Those are high numismatic value type coins. There sounds like.
Yeah, usually some of them are. I bought some really good ones. I never got a £5 piece, which was it's a large gold coin. I tried to bid on those many times, but I never got them. There was always somebody outbidded me. And I often, just buy $30 or something, or $20. you know, and it was like a $2,000 coin at the time. I don't know what they are now. I haven't even checked, so I
I
never
bet
got one of those. But
they're doing well.
I oh, but so I bought gold, and I did buy, and then I found a bullion dealer in Melbourne. I mean, we're talking about that probably just before before I had the internet. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you have to use whatever resources you have. But I did find a bullion deal, and I started buying gold from them regularly. And
So before you go on from that, is you found a bullion dealer, and that's before the internet. So is it? I
yeah,
mean, that's probably a task in itself, really. I don't know how
yeah.
Australia.
Well, I looked up in the yellow pages when we had it. If people remember what that was, it was a book, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
we do.
had all the business, you know, businesses in it. And if you wanted to find a plumber or a carpenter or, you know, somebody to fix your air conditioning, that's where you went. So,
Sure.
so, so that's how I found it. And I went there, and you know, and I thought, oh, how much is a gold ounce of gold? It was like about, I don't know, $700 Australian, something. I said, oh yeah, I'll get some of that. It's now over 7,000 Australian dollars. That is, so, yeah. But it was, so I just kept on doing that, and it wasn't until later on I started buying kilo silver and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
But
So,
so
so
and then later on I decided that, well, that's not a good idea, and maybe I should so I just bought smaller, just 1 ounce rounds, 1 ounce. I bought rounds, and I bought, you know, squares and ingots. And what else did I buy? More. But I tried to buy Australian. I got American as well. Got a lot of them too. Eagles. I got them silver eagles.
so was there much? That's kind of what I was wondering. Your bullion dealer, was it like a street shop? You know,
No, no.
on a street type.
I'll explain. Yeah, I'll explain to you here in Melbourne, right? Where I was living there at the time. I don't live there anymore, but there's a number of buildings that hold these businesses, right? And it's at 227 Collins Street. There's like about, I don't know, there could be 20 bullion dealers in there, or dealers in precious metals. It might be for the jewelry trade. So you can go to a whole bunch of them just there. Some of the big ones are there. The better known ones here in Australia, but others are not. Others are at different locations, but they're usually all in Collins Street, which is in the centre of Melbourne. It's the
Okay.
main business.
Okay. Hold that thought 1 second. I got to answer a question here. So, Daniel, yeah. So at the beginning of the live stream, I went through kind of the guidelines here, but roughly I'll just give you an answer to your question. So the protocol for bidding, it's dollar increments up to, I guess everything's over 100 now. So I don't know why, but that used to be for when we were at $20 an ounce. Now we're at 100. But so bidding goes in $5 increments over 100. So the coin I just put up was at 110. So you start your bid, you would just put, a dollar sign and 110. And I would see that bid, and I would say your name and say, okay, Daniel has it at 110 right now. And then, like I say, there's a 3-minute countdown timer here. And then you'd be bidding against someone else. If they came in, they would bid 115, then you'd have to bid 120, and until the time runs down, and then I'll count it down, 3, 2, 1, sold to whoever's on top. I don't start my countdown over again, so it's just a one-time 3, 2, 1, sold. And shipping in the U.S. is $7, and when you pay on your first payment, you'll pay shipping with whatever you bought. That opens you up a wallet in case you want to keep coming back to more auctions. until you are ready to have your stuff shipped to you, and or your package gets too large for more than one shipment. So that's how we run that. And any other questions, just drop them in the chat, and you're welcome to bid. And the next coin up is going to be a Popeye. This is Popeye and Brutus. This is a coin from Samoa 2024. 1 ounce silver. I will drop the info in the chat and we'll get the timer going on this next piece. And yeah, okay, back to your story. So downtown Main Street in Melbourne, did you say? Where?
In Melbourne. It's Collins Street, 227 Collins Street.
Okay.
There's a number of, if you can look these up if you want to, but ABC Bullion is there, but it's under the name of Palois, which has been around a long time.
Well, I know ABC Bullion anyway. I know that one.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, their main retail outlet is there. Bullion Now, which is run by this guy by the name of Michael.
I know
Pepper.
Bullion Now too. Yep.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff on YouTube.
As
well.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So was Bullion Now around back when you were first starting there?
No,
then?
No, it wasn't. They came later. Same with Ainsley Bullion. They were the other ones that I used. So, I mean, it's far more convenient just to go up there and just. I mean, at the moment, you really have to probably book an appointment because they're being overrun.
Are they?
I mean, seriously, I don't know whether you saw that video that I sent you of Sam Laurie. Well, Sam Laurie's sort of basically spelled it out, and like, there's like, for every person that's selling bullion, 5 people are buying in Australia.
That's awesome to hear. Is that kind of late as the price?
That's of late. That's as late as the prices. Because usually I used to go in there. Sam was different because he was working by himself, and I go in there and I sort of I'd have to call him ahead of time and say, "Can I come and see you now, or can you call me when you're ready to see me?" And he said, "I'll call you when I'm ready to see you." I used to call him, and I was only about 5 minutes away. But other bullion dealers had a big waiting room. Like there's one called Ainsley Bullion.
Okay.
So they've been around for 50 years, but they were in Brisbane originally, which is it's the capital of Queensland, which is in northern Australia. So it's like more than a couple of thousand miles from where I live. So
oh wow.
Yeah, but they've got an outlet in Melbourne as well now, and of all the businesses they're probably the most professional of the lot, but
okay.
Probably Sam Laurie from Liberty Bullion as well, and Bullion Now is a very, very professional outfit as well. So, and everybody's who I've dealt with in all of those places has been very good.
So is Bullion Now? I'm sorry, I'm hitting you with all these questions, but is Bullion Now somewhere close to you? Have you been to their shop? Do they have a storefront?
Yeah. They've got a storefront. Yeah, look, but because I live on the Bellarine Peninsula, I would tend to probably take a train up and from Geelong.
Okay.
So, which
is how long would track would that be?
About an hour. About an hour.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
So you take a train for an hour, and then you're in the central city, and you can get things and just go back home, which is probably the easiest way to do it. I haven't done that for a while because I've basically got my stack in order now.
Yeah.
And I've only been buying little bits and pieces. So,
yeah.
Like I'd go to not auction so much. They have coin fairs and things, numismatic coin fairs. And I go to places like that, and lately I've just been looking for, I don't know, silver that's close to spot. So it's
Yeah.
usually threepence. It's the thing that I was talking about at the very beginning, the threepences and the sixpences, and because if we come to a situation where the money has no value, or it's tracked so much that you can't get what you want anymore, which is just what they want. I mean,
Yeah.
it's dead obvious to everybody probably on this who watches this channel and other channels like it, right? It's dead obvious that they want to track everything.
Yeah.
So, and it might be the only way that you'll be able to get something outside. If they've decided that they don't want you to have it for whatever reason to punish you.
And I even think they'll try to make it hard for us to work around it outside as well. Like, that's what one of my bigger nervousness areas. I mean, it will be possible, but I think they'll try to restrict as much as they can.
Yeah.
So also, anytime during the night, I'm going to go. So there's 3 options available right now. Normally, each coin I put up, we run 3-minute timer on. That's that lot. But also, I have a buy it now special, which is available at any time throughout this auction, which is this buy it now special over here on the right. It is a 1-ounce walking Liberty round, 3/9 fine silver. $95 by how many? You can get up to 10 per person. So you would just type in BIN-special, buy it now special, and then X10 or X5, depending on how many you want, anytime throughout the auction, and you will have those for your availability. And then also I have right up above that, we have our ancient coin of the evening, which is also available at any time throughout the night. You can type in buy it now ancient, BIN-ancient, and that will buy you this ancient coin at this price right out the gate. If you want, you can wait till the end of the auction, and I will put up this ancient coin for auction, and I will reduce the price at the very end of this auction. So if you want to wait and see if you can get it a little bit reduced price, wait till the end of the auction, and I will put it up for a reduced price. But you can buy it at any time throughout the auction. If you don't want to wait or possibly lose it to someone else, you can buy it just at this price right now by typing in BIN-ancient. So there are those 2 options. These 2 buy it now options are available any time during the auction. Just type it in, buy it now, either for the special or for the ancient, and that will take care of that. And up next, we have Beavis and Butthead, and we will get the timer going on this. All right. Again, sorry I'm cutting you off now and again, but kind of how I got to do it. So, yeah, where were we there? So you can take the train in and even go visit sites right now, but we'd kind of jumped ahead there. So I wanted to hear more about when you first went to your first deal. You went downtown and found somewhere in Melbourne kind of earlier on there when you were younger. If I was
that's right. That was there's 2 to confuse matters. There's 2 companies, right? There's one called the ABC Bullion, and there's another company called the Australian Bullion Company, but they're different companies, right? So I went to the Australian Bullion Company and I bought gold there and silver. I bought my first PAMP kilo
was
bar
that
from
like a storefront?
It was in basically an office building. You went up the lift to where they were, and it was like the old days. Or I don't know, maybe it's still in the United States. We had the glass, and they have a chute underneath, right?
Okay.
And you had to talk to them through the glass, which is really quite
Oh,
hard
really?
sometimes. Yeah, you had to shout sometimes, you know. So yeah, well, I mean, you know, not all of them deal like that. Some of them are more personal, and they'll deal with you directly in an enclosed office. So,
Well, that's
which is
interesting to
probably
hear.
better.
Sure, sure. But it is interesting to hear about how, your first trip to kind of a bullion store and your experience and what type of a shop it was. That's all very interesting to me.
There was nothing on display, right? You had
Okay.
to you had to know what you wanted. Put it that way. Or you
Interesting.
asked them, "Do you have this? Do you have that?" Because there was no
Yeah.
internet. I couldn't figure out, and it
So
was
you
all
had
dependent
no
on
idea.
what they had, you know.
Okay.
But
That's
later on, some of them, like they had displays there of what they had. Like if you go into either Bullion now or Ainsley Bullion, they have this huge big display of, you know, in a secure glass case. You know, it's like like the ones they have at jewelry stores and that sort of thing.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's got a complete display of what they sell there.
Sure.
And which they have numbers. They might have smaller numbers of stuff that won't be on display, but you can ask them if they've got X, Y, and Z, and often they do. Sometimes it's better just to go there and find out also what they have.
Sure. Sure. What?
Um,
So I'm sorry, but I'm trying to take you back to that first shop. So, and you had to talk to them through behind the glass. What type of inventory did they have? Like, did they have a pretty
well,
big?
I didn't really know, but I said I wanted to buy an ounce of gold, and they said, "Oh, did you want a coin or did you want a bar?"
Or
And I said,
something?
"Oh, well, I'll have a bar." You know what I mean? Because I thought it was cool having a little bar of gold, you know.
No
And
doubt.
that's how I bought it. It was like $700 or something.
Wow.
So
Like a 1 ounce or something like that. 1 ounce.
1 ounce, 1 ounce bar. Yeah, I kept
Yeah.
buying them pretty regularly. So
Wow. Cool.
yeah. But it's probably the way. It's very difficult to know what to do when you don't have the knowledge. But with the internet now, you can find out anything
Right.
about that sort of thing, and you can just find out what you want and whether you prefer this or that, or But back then, well, the other way to do it was to buy gold through coin shops and numismatic auction houses. So
your auction houses, how were you? So your dad went through. Did your dad go through auction houses too, or?
yeah, he did. He did.
So how did you? Was that coming like right now? I got one from Chicago here, the ancient coin dealer I use, Harlan Burke, and you get a little.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I've got I don't have one on me here, but they send the one I mostly use. I've used pretty well for nearly 30 years. Is Noble Numismatics.
Okay.
Which is
and then they're also in magazines, aren't they? Just
yeah.
I wonder
But these were like telephone books, they send them out to you and they're so thick, it's like, and it would take me probably 5 or 6 hours to go through it.
Wow.
Properly, easily. And they usually, because they only have 3 auctions a year, I think, and occasionally they might have 1 or 2 special auctions.
Okay.
But there's usually, I'd say, a good 300-400 ancient coins for sale at auction.
Okay.
Easily. So, and wide range of quality as well. Like some of the things you were showing yesterday. Basically high EF, gold coins, which were quite large, or silver coins, ancient Greek silver coins, which were quite large. It really is the premier auction house in Australia. for that sort of thing.
Which one is?
Sorry?
Which one was the premier auction house in Australia?
Noble Numismatics.
Noble. Okay. Yep.
Noble Numismatics. If anybody wants to know about them, you can look them up. They've got their past auction catalogues online, which you can either download or look at. Yeah. So, but
and they so out of, where are they located? Do you know?
They're in Sydney.
Okay.
Right, and they have an auction 3 times a year. They've got also an office in Melbourne. I don't know. That's been going for a long time. They've had the same staff there pretty well all that time. Okay. So, but they don't anymore do auctions in Melbourne. They used to about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now. Yeah, that was the last auction in Melbourne. I'd have to check it. But I used to go and sit there and bid, with my card. Yeah, that was fun. But the thing about this, you've only got a certain amount of money to spend, and there's hundreds of coins going through. So you really have to decide what you're willing to spend on a particular coin. What you're willing to spend on a coin, and what you're not willing to spend on a coin, and not get caught up with it, and then just keep on bidding it up.
Yep.
Because I looked at it this way. Oh, well, there's a heap of other coins to bid on as well.
For sure.
And sometimes you find that as the auctions went through the numismatics, you have 300 or 400 coins. The later ones you might find that, I don't think it's this way now because it's all done digitally now. But there's less. You might get a better price towards the end. But then I tried different methods to get coins as well, and I thought I found out I usually did better by, I don't know, just putting in bids through the mail, and they had people that looked after that. And I found sometimes if I put in a low bid on something, but I don't think they do it now, because you never know. Some of these coins that go up for auction, it's somebody's collection and it's just got to go. So they, at the moment, they usually say we'll not accept a bid of less than 60% of the listed price or the estimate.
Yeah.
But I found in the past that I could do 40%.
Yeah.
And I'd sometimes get them. And that was because they had no other bids. That's why.
Yeah. And it probably depends on the seller themselves too sometimes as well.
Yeah, and it's as I said to you, that in that situation they probably had no reserve price because it had to go. It wasn't being kept by the people because the person who owned them had died and their family was selling the collection off.
Has no idea, and yeah,
and they just told them it's just all going to be sold.
Sure.
So some things you got really cheap. Other things I had to put in higher bids for. Yeah.
Well, so I got Daniel in here says he'd like an ancient owl, Athenian owl. Yeah, that's
I actually don't have one of those, except in a very, very, very tiny. Because I found I could pick these up really cheap. Was the really tiny oval coins or very small silver ones, and there's some of them. You put them under the magnifying glass, and they've got a lot of detail.
Unbelievable! They got that type of detail on that age, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the only Athenian owl I've got, which is like that. So,
I had a nice one, but I sold it off already. I was looking. There was a nice one in the HJB auction. I was looked at yesterday too. So, So the Athenian owl is one of the most minted coins. Like they put out a lot of Athenian owls.
Yeah,
tetradrachms.
they would have.
So that is, you can get them. They're pretty well stable price. You can find them all day long in most auctions. It's just looking out for that diamond in the rough, right? To where you start adding on the money. So it's
Look.
rare ancients that just the rare ancients that have some beautiful art or a good story behind them. Whoo, those can get carried away, no doubt.
Oh, I could imagine. I mean, one of the things that I did do was I got lots of at different times they were selling off numismatic literature, so old auction catalogs, even like 100+ years old. I got a whole heap of those as well. So, and usually they were like 50 to 60 years old. But it's incredible, some of these auctions that they had. They produce basically books, really, bound books, hardcover books as the auction catalog.
Yeah.
And I bought a lot of those,
Cool.
probably about 15, 20 years ago. So, and they're really quite interesting because you pull them out and you look at some of these coins, and then now you've got the internet. You can look these things up.
Yeah.
Some of them have been resold again.
Oh yeah.
And some of them, there's a real provenance to them, a real pedigree to them, which sort of some of them go back. And I've only got a few coins that have got long pedigrees, and they're only copper ones. So.
Yeah,
they've been owned by 5 or more different owners.
1970 pedigrees are what can really add some. I guess that it's they made a law, at least in the U.S. here, where it needs to have a pre-1970 pedigree in order for museums to be able to purchase them, because they're worried about where it's coming from and whatnot. But if they are provenance to, if they have a pedigree, that goes back pre-1970, then they're open market even to museums. So that can really almost double your price right out the gate, just having that.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. And you having all those old catalogs is very interesting. I went down and visited Harlan J. Burke there in Chicago, and they've been in ancient coins for quite a while. I think his dad's opened up in like the 60s, and they have just an amazing library of catalogs and ancient coins. Pretty impressive. So.
Somebody probably calling on the phone. Don't worry about it. I'm not answering it. Sorry about that.
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
So is the weather kind of reversed then for like here in Colorado to Australia?
Yeah, it would be. It's sort of like where I live, it gets cold like in winter, but for probably somebody living in Colorado, they wouldn't say that it's cold. So but it can get down to 0 degrees Celsius, which would be 32.
Yep.
So,
okay.
But it really doesn't stay there very long. So, I mean, I actually don't think it gets that cold here, because in Melbourne it would, but here not really. And like I've hardly ever seen it snow. I've only ever seen it snow in the United States when I was there.
Okay.
So that was in Nevada.
Well, so that's actually kind of rare.
Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe. Okay, well that makes sense. Sure. I see. Yeah. So have you been to the States much then?
I've been twice, but I haven't been for nearly 30 years now. Last time I went was 97. So, it's completely changed since then. I mean, when I should have gone was probably around 2011, when the Australian dollar was really high. It was like you were getting $1.05 or something American. Now it's 70.
Oh, you were actually you were on top of the dollar there for a minute.
Yeah, but you know that whole few years basically destroyed. It meant Australia became uncompetitive, and basically destroyed the manufacturing industry here in Australia. Just that couple of years, we lost our car industry. You know, lots of different things. Now we don't even produce our own glass anymore. Like, you know, flat glass.
Really?
So, yep. That's all imported from China now.
Wow.
And that's partly because of all the policies that the government's pursued, which include this net zero nonsense.
Oh, sure.
So, you know, and they're putting up all these wind turbines all over the place, and it's so intermittent. You can't get a baseline power load out of it.
Yeah, that's what we have in a state just to the north of us, Wyoming. It's like the windiest state anywhere that I know of. I mean, you cross the border into Wyoming, you can barely get your car door open. It's so windy. I mean, it's just windy in Wyoming nonstop. It's some weird thing, and they have a bunch of windmills, but I mean, even there, they're not getting the load that you might think they would. Like, it's hard to get the type of power you can get from burning coal from these.
No, and Victoria. I mean, they're sitting on all this brown coal. It's just there's enough that probably could keep this. Because Melbourne has a population of about 5 million. It's a huge city. It's not a small place. And they could keep it going for 500 years. But they've chosen to go wind turbines and solar, which is so intermittent, which means you can't really have a proper manufacturing industry. And what's more interesting is you can't even do things like data centers and things like that they want to do. So it's not going to be possible here in Australia at all.
Interesting.
So, and this is what you get when you have and one of the things I found out recently that probably something like 70% of the people who work for the government in government jobs vote Green. They vote for the Green Party. Yeah. Which is basically a socialist, you know, Marxist party.
That's sadly we're in the same boat. I don't believe it.
You know, and so they're making they're writing all the laws and making all the policy, which leads to which leads to a greatly reduced productivity here in Australia. Yeah, and it's not good. And I know it's going on in the US as well. In some states.
It's very sad to see what's happening here in the U.S. And I'm finally waking up to realize, to believe my own eyes, because we've just been so brainwashed. But I'm realizing, wow, we are literally, I've been saying it on this channel for a while, that we're kicking the legs out from under the U.S. on purpose. And they're just...
It's all deliberate. And you just still wonder who's behind all this. Who's really pulling the strings, you know?
Yep.
And the Epstein files have proven that basically all governments compromised.
It's unbelievable that this is what we're dealing with. And for them to sprinkle this out in front of everybody makes you think, how bad is
what's going on?
Don't know. Like, my goodness, if you're willing,
it's terrible. That's I won't bring it up because you probably know what it's all about.
Yeah,
I mean, if you follow different channels on Rumble and that, and even on X, you'll know what it's all about.
Yeah.
So,
and you think, whoa, it's just something I've read, but like, when you dig into the monetary system and then you look at the wars and you start tying these things together, you're like, okay, this is an ongoing thing for quite a while here,
No, it's been going on for generations.
It has. Yeah.
It's been going on for generations. It's been going on before even the Rothschilds. It was going on with the Lombardis in Italy, in Venice, and even before then with the
Yeah.
Babylonians.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
It's
you trace it right back to these ancient
yeah,
empires, and they, you look at, in fact, just what
mm,
we were looking at yesterday, those ancient Alexander the Great gold and silver coins, and them seizing those empires, and then starting to mint their own coins. And you watch the different empires collect all the gold and silver and start minting their own stuff, and so
mm,
yeah, you had empire capturing going on for written history, and
yeah,
uh, and so, how much of that consolidation has now carried down secretly behind closed doors, and that seems to be, in my mind, that's what we're looking at, whereas you look and you've got the White House and the corruption there, but I think that's just a puppet game at this point. And there's something very powerful behind that we can't see. It has probably had power for a long time, from what I can tell.
yeah. I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
And it's all controlled through. It's not controlled through common sense. It's controlled through. It's controlled through corruption. Really, that's how it's done. I'm sure
Yeah.
of it. I'm 100% sure of it.
Yeah. I
So,
wouldn't have an argument with you. So.
even in our state government, because I did mention to you, like, I went through a difficult patch during COVID because I had a job where I had to be there to do the job to get paid. Right, a lot of people could work from home, and they probably thought it was easier to work from home. I didn't have to deal with Shane in the next booth or something like that. You know what I mean? So they found it easier, and they were probably more productive at home.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to do that, and of course, they basically I was lucky. I had a lot of in Australia. We get something known as long service leave, and you get that after you've done 10 years of service with one company, and
Okay.
and it's quite a substantial amount of time that the company pays for.
Interesting.
And I was with the company 20 plus years, and so I was able to use that time to survive on. But eventually it ran out, right? And fortunately, I was able to go back to work for a while, and until they had the final lockdown, because Melbourne in particular was locked down longer than any other place in the
Right.
world.
I remember that now that you mention it. That's right. You guys did have
Yeah,
a
I'd have to look it up. It was something incredible. It was like equivalent of like 8 months or something.
wow.
But so you don't have any job or any payment for 8 months. And like they were priming you up, right, for when they had the vaccines, and they said, well, if you don't have a vaccine, this was Daniel Andrews, who was our premier, said, if you don't have a vaccine, you won't have a job. You won't be allowed to work. And guess what? I wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
So
good job, man. Good choice.
I wasn't going to get it, but that meant I was in a very, very hard place as well.
Yep.
And I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to have to sell some of my gold. I don't want to do that. It's only just started to take off. But
yeah.
But what happened was, and then I got this high blood pressure from all that stress, and
Really?
then I had an issue with my eye, and I lost sort of partial sight in my left eye, from the high blood pressure.
Wow.
But eventually we were able to fix that, which is good. It's basically almost normal now. So, so I was sort of waiting, and I was thinking, oh, I'm not going back to work. And then eventually I got to my 59th birthday, and on your 59th birthday, I could access my superannuation, which is my 401k. And when I accessed that, I thought, stuff this. I'm going to just buy silver and gold. These people are so evil. It's the only thing I can do.
You and me think a lot alike.
You know, these people
Yeah.
are trying to destroy me, and I've done nothing to deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm just a normal guy just eking out a living, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you to tell that my employer that they can't have me anymore?
Right.
Think about it.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. I
Yeah.
didn't follow through. Luckily, none of my family. I was already in the horrible anti-vax camp myself because of something that had happened in my family, and
Yeah.
a little prior to warp speed coming into play. And so when that hit, I was like, whoa, you got to be kidding me that they're going to actually do this. And so, we didn't do it. Of course, there was lots of pressure in lots of areas, but we managed to escape it as well. But what a ridiculous pressure. They had a just funny side note. There's a donut brand here in the States that I really like called Krispy Kreme, or I used to really like, called Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. They had them here in Australia. I think they still have them some places. Yeah.
They gave a dozen free donuts to anyone who proved they got the vax. And there was lots of these little gimmicky deals like that. And I couldn't believe it. They're trying to bribe you with a dozen Krispy, which was a good bribe. I mean, I like my Krispy Kreme, but I had to boycott Krispy Kreme after that. So.
Oh yeah, well, I think they're still around. I mean, but we have this other brand here in Victoria called Daniel Donuts. They're pretty good. I mean, they used to have a shop not far away from here in Port Arlington, but that closed down. I don't know why. I think the owner of it had a big dispute with his wife or something. They got divorced, and so they had to sell the business, or sell parts of the business. So, yeah, and my wife always liked going there, and I sort of thought, oh yeah, they're okay, but I don't mind not having it like that. But we still have it here. Starbucks, that's a big thing in the US. I know that.
Too.
And they came to Australia, and it was a real loss-making enterprise, because particularly here in Australia and particularly in Victoria, right, there's already a very well-established sort of like coffee culture and that sort of thing here. So they came here, and they weren't, nobody was in their shop.
Oh yeah.
So they basically got rid of them out of all the shopping malls and all that sort of stuff, and they all closed up. But there's still a few of them, right? And there are places where, like, Americans who come to Melbourne, they're tourists from Asia that like it, and other places, they're still there.
Yeah.
So, but we would describe that as a bit of a tourist trap, because there's better coffees out there, much better than them.
Yeah.
So in Australia, I mean, I can think of dozens of coffee shops that will produce better coffee than them.
Do you guys grow coffee in Australia? Is that a coffee place?
Yeah, they do in northern Queensland, but not a lot. You need a particular environment. They produce a lot in to our north in Papua New Guinea and Indonesia as well. But most of the best coffee comes from Brazil and Costa Rica.
Is that where it's good stuff?
Yeah. Brazil and Costa Rica really produce the best coffee.
Nice.
So
yeah, I think coffee is going to do, aside from your silver and your gold, you get a lot of commodities, including coffee, right? Coffee is probably going to take off from,
Oh yeah. Well, they had some virus or something or bug or that wrecked the crop. So I heard that. That's what I heard. Part of the reason why the coffee prices went up a lot. But I mean, I do all mine at home. You know, that was another thing. You know, like I used to buy coffee at work, you know, lunch break or something, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a coffee. Used to buy it, and then I thought, you know, oh, this is. It wasn't much at the time. It was like $3 or something, and then it went up, and I thought, I don't think I'll do this anymore. So I bought one of these espresso machines from Aldi. You've got Aldi there, I know that, and they have this Expressi pod system so I bought those instead, and they were like 30 cents each for a pod compared to $4 or something for a coffee.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll just do that. I'll take that to work and have them at work and use the difference to, you know, buy some silver or some numismatics or something, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, getting back to the silver purchases. So you moved up through your first purchasing in person there in Melbourne behind glass window.
yeah.
And you had auction catalogs that you would purchase through. And
Yeah.
then I suppose that led us into the internet age, or what came after that?
Yeah. Well, the internet age, you see, right, I didn't really buy through. What it meant was as soon as I got the internet, I found out more about how the monetary system works. And of course, the biggest, the most stark thing is when you learn how how banking actually works and how actually loans are actually created. I mean, once you figure this out, and this is one of the things, and I said to you in my email, this is one of the things that children need to understand. Every American, Australian child needs to understand this. This is what keeps them a slave in the system.
Yeah, yep.
Basically.
Yep.
Because, you know, you go into a bank, right? It's also true with credit cards as well, where you don't have to go into the bank. You just have the credit card. When you go into a bank, right, and you get a loan for your home, say it's a $300,000 home loan or something or other, you know, the banker there or whoever it is types up $300,000. They put that into your account, right? Okay, $300,000 in your account, which is you're going to be using to buy the house. Then they create what's known as another account, which is your home loan account. Okay, that's $300,000, from which the interest is, you know, is added, and that has a figure there, which is, if you look at every home loan statement, it'll have this minus $300,000.
Yeah.
So where's the money come from?
Right. Pixie dust.
It's come out of nothing. It's come out of nothing.
Yeah.
And most people, if you ask them, oh, when you go to a bank, most people think it's other people's money who's put the money in the bank.
Yep.
And it's not.
Right. Yeah, it was, and it's a slow creep. Like it was like you say, they had 92, they had sterling silver, then they went down to 50, then 35, and then I mean, it's just that then you
they don't even want to take coins anymore. Now, like I was told, no, they don't even take coins anymore. This is another thing. Like in city of Geelong, I have to go in there every now and then for to see a specialist to check my eyes, and it's about once every 3 months. It's really quite good now. As good as I can expect it to be. But anyway, I go in there and I find out recently that the city of Geelong, which is like the local government there, they're in their wisdom, they've decided, well, everybody's just going to have to use their phone or to pay for their parking now. You cannot put coins in the machine anymore.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, oh, well, we're going to have to figure something out. Maybe we'll have to go by bus instead. Because we just, you see, this is all part of the tracking thing as well.
Yep.
All of those little transactions that you are forced to do with your phone or with credit card or whatever, that's all being analysed, and you're being profiled.
Yep.
Admittedly, it's through AI probably now, but they're making decisions about you, about all sorts of things.
Yep.
So you can't, and that's why I'm a great believer in just using cash wherever I can. Pay your bills in cash.
Yep.
You know, go to a restaurant, pay in cash. If they don't want your cash, don't go there.
Yep.
There's been probably a lot of places who I would have gone to over the years. They've missed out on my business because I wouldn't go down that path.
Yeah, even here in Denver, there's the National Western Stock Show, which a bunch of cowboys from all the different states bring their top
right.
big to do. And
Anything like that, you have to pay with card or
they
phone
went us and a couple of years ago, and we haven't been back since because I'm not going to do that. I'm not given money to do that. And it's funny, someone here in Colorado took it to court basically that because it's supposed to already be law. Well, even on the US dollar it says, this is payment of debt. You have to take this for payment of debt, all different, But now
it says the same in Australia as well, yeah. Payments for all debts.
The businesses weren't taking cash, and so this guy went in and said, look, you have to accept cash or something. Well, he won his court case, but they only put like a $250 fine for those that won't accept it, and you can take them to court and they'll have to pay you $250. Well, you take something like the National Western Stock Show, they get paid from the big cats. They've probably got a pool where that they don't even have to worry about that. They'll pay $250 all day long just to keep that implemented. So it's frustrating. Like, yeah, you won your court case, but it wasn't enough to actually cause any change. It's just such a rigged game. It's just frustrating.
It's all going to come unstuck. We've had it here. You've probably had it in the United States as well, where people have gone to the supermarket or something, and the next thing you know, none of the cards are working or the phones or anything. And the only way you can pay is with cash. And so people just abandon their shopping carts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that happened a few months back, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. So, I'm always conscious of it, but I'm always very wary that if something like that happens, how long is it going to be down for? I mean, if it's down for an hour or two, it's no big thing.
Right.
If it's down for a day for two,
you
might. But if it's down for more than a few days,
well, that's
the panic's going to set in.
I kind of expect that. I expect some type of an event where it's down for quite a while, and they say, "Oh, we have these problems, but we got this new electronic system that we'll try."
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm.
But that's probably lies. It's probably a liquidity crisis.
Oh yeah, for sure, totally.
It's probably a liquidity crisis. I mean, and I don't know.
Yeah. Sure. All right, we're going to do one more loose coin here, and then we're going to move into Osmium. All right, let me get this. Okay, so we have a Britannia. This is the 2013 Britannia. It has a mirror back finish, and it has the snake privy on the edge, so there's no reeded edge. It just has some snakes imprinted along the side rim there. Got the Queen Lizzie on the back. I'm going to put that up next. And then we'll move into Osmium. Okay. Yeah, so it's crazy that just here in the last few months, the rise in silver has been so great. You sent me that snapshot of them wanting eagles. What was it, like
What,
$200?
$200? Yeah, $202 or something like that. Something like that. That was Australian dollars though, but it's probably, and look, it's been up. I don't know what it is at the moment. I haven't checked since this morning, so I don't always check every day. Hey,
it's about 91 last I checked, US.
Yeah, it was about that as well. Yeah. So, and the Australian dollar has risen against the US dollar as well. It's been slowly going up, which indicates that the US dollar's value is going down. It's probably with other currencies as well. So
yeah,
it's because we had a huge drop in the currency.
Yeah, I
down to
think
like 59 or something cents for a dollar, for a US dollar. 59 US cents for an Australian dollar.
Wow.
So, now it's 71 or something.
Yeah, I think if you're not watching silver and gold, these currencies fluctuating with each other, like you can no longer watch the dollar like you used to could, right?
Yeah.
Now you just got to be watching gold and silver. Otherwise,
yeah, which is what I do.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it every day, but
right.
After a while, it sort of gets boring.
Oh, for sure.
I've lost a lot of money today. And you lost nothing. Right. You still got your silver. You still got your gold. You still got your platinum.
Yeah, how do you like platinum? What's your take on platinum?
It's even more volatile than silver, really, and same with palladium as well. But I think every person, every one that's into this, a stagger, should have a small holding of it, but I wouldn't go more than 5% of your entire stack.
Yeah,
maybe even less than that. But you still got the opportunity, just even that small amount, to make a big profit or loss, depending on what happens.
You think it's gonna reach its ratio with gold, how it was kind of 2-to-1 there for a while, platinum to gold.
Well, it's a lot rarer than gold.
Yeah. So that's
and like Osmium's the most rarest of them all, but it's a lot rarer than gold.
Platinum is 10% of what is a rough. What I've heard, 10% of the silver market. Platinum is 10% of the silver market. So, and then obviously osmium is a tiny byproduct of platinum. So we're getting pretty small when we get down into that. But silver is a small market. So for platinum to be 10% of silver, that's pretty small.
It's tiny, very tiny. And that being the case, if enough people rush into it, any of these things, decide, we need platinum. We need, even if we need silver. I think it's proving it here in Australia. With Sam Laurie saying, there's 5 times as many people buying silver and than selling it to me. I can give you a spot for anything under a 1 kilo size bar.
Yep.
So,
well, that was interesting. I think that's going to soon be the case here. I am blown away by the lack of understanding here in the States for people and not being moved into silver yet. And I had people. So this was interesting and typical, but I had people friends, that I had talked to about solar before weren't interested. Well, when it broke over up to 120, they start calling, and but then it dropped, and then so I called them back when it dropped, and I'm like, here's a good time if you're thinking about getting in, get it while
Yeah.
it's and no response back. And I think it's funny. I'm gonna wait, and once it starts breaking past 120 again, I guess they're gonna call back by there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the thing, and I was buying it, and it used to go down, and I used to think, oh, it's gone down. Oh well, I'll just get some more.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the way they do it. I mean, you got to. Everybody says buy low and sell when it's high.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I wasn't planning to sell my silver until I get something that, that's a productive asset. So, or I'll hand it on to somebody else.
Yep.
So. Anyway, we'll keep my wife comfortable or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm worried. I mean, if everybody would get a little bit, it would really take care of the problem. But when everyone is so disconnected from reality and don't seem to think
that's all.
To get back to reality, it's scary.
It's all part of the psyop. It really is.
I think so, and it's working quite well. I don't know if that's a curse, To me, so much of this, and me moving into silver and gold and the precious metals itself, was very much spiritually led, I guess you would say. Like,
I would say the same for me too.
Yeah,
I still think that God's got a hand in all of this. And then, when I was buying the gold and I didn't even know why I was buying it, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And then, I just had this need to do it. It's like, I don't know, it was just a gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, that I just had to do this. I had to do this. I don't have a choice. I've just got to do it. If I don't do it, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what I always felt. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting, like once I started looking into it, and then I started looking into the monetary system, and I came at it from knowing and understanding that there was so many lies going on, and I just started a family, and I was like, I got to take care of my family and protect them, and so that was where my mind was. And then somebody mentioned silver to me, and then I started looking into the monetary system. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is going to be bad, but it was quite obvious. That was 2017 when I started looking into it, and by that time, it was pretty obvious to me that the monetary system was in a lot of trouble, and we were going to continue to see a lot of inflation, and so I've been watching, and it seems crystal clear to me for quite a while. But like even now, like. I was saying triple digits is coming, and I mean, people, you're crazy, that's never going to happen. And now that it's happened, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, finally people are going to wake up to this, and understand.
No, they haven't.
We're saying that we're right all this time, but it's like, no, it's just this blip, it's going to go back down. And it just is just frustrating and mind blowing. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. At all, but is what it is, I guess. All right, so we are going to move into the osmium. My screen just went black over here. There we go. So yeah, and we still have our special available over here, the Walking Liberty Round, 3 9s fine silver at $95, 10 per person. And right above that, our ancient coin, which will be coming up after osmium. We'll put it up at a reduced price, but it is available right now for $13.50. It's an Attic Gina Stater. It is the second edition of the sea turtle. It has the first release of the sea turtle had just one row of dots down the center of the shell. The second edition, where they made a change, was there's a row of dots down the center and one at the top on the front on each side of that row. Was the second edition. Then in the latter edition, it just turned into a land dwelling turtle. It has dots and spots and squares all over the whole shell. So this is the second edition from this area. And let's see, 510 to 500 BC, 12 grams of silver. And it was got a pretty good pedigree back to 89. So it's been around for a while. I'm going to play a little side video here with it. We can find it. There we go. And that's done. We'll move into our art. So yeah, you can buy this ancient coin right now or stick around till the end another 20 minutes or so, and we'll put it up at a slightly reduced price. So yeah, so tell me a little bit about your excursion into ancient coins then.
Oh, okay. Well, that comes back to Noble's numismatics, the catalogue.
Okay.
And what actually happened was, Dad had a catalogue, and I had started going through it and looking at it. This was would have been a long time ago, around 2000, about that stage, I'd say.
Okay, around 2000.
And yeah, around 2000, and maybe 2002, something like that. But I started going through this catalogue, and I saw these. It had this section for biblical coins.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And they had they had widows' mites there and things like that, and which aren't really that. I mean, you get a poor quality one; they're not really that expensive, and
No.
but they had that sort of thing, and they had what's called the tribute pennies. Sometimes they call it.
Yep.
It was, and so it was a Tiberius denarii as well, and they had the tetradrachm.
Yep.
And I thought, and then also there was also prutas with from Pontius Pilate as well. I thought, gee, I didn't know you could get these coins, and it's the real thing. Gee, I think I might put in a bid for these, and and I ended up getting a few of them, and I just sort of kept going from there. But I gravitated more towards biblical coins mostly. I mean, I got a few Greek coins, but I was more interested in trying to get. I've got this book called Guide to Biblical Coins by David Hendon.
Yeah, I have that right behind me back here. Yep.
Yeah. That is a very useful book for somebody that wants to get into this sort of thing. You can get access to it. Although with AI and the internet now, you probably don't need it. You can probably get around it and just ask what coins were mentioned in the Bible or something like that. They'll tell you exactly.
Right.
And you can find out which ones they were. But I started going through that, trying to get every coin in that. I mean, I got most of them, but there's a few that are extremely rare and very valuable, which I don't have. But I think I got most of the coins in this book.
Cool.
So, and that was over like 20 years. But I also collected very, very tiny, Greek coins. I sort of like found those were I could bid like $50 on those and I'd get them.
Yep.
Or even less, $40 sometimes. But this is a few years ago. I'm sure they're like 150 now. But that was one way of. And I used to have this scattergun approach to the auctions because I thought I'll do better by like bidding on a lot of things with a lot of low prices. And I'd find I'd bid sort of like 50 different things, and I put 50%, 40% bids on it, and I'd probably get about 4 of those, which was interesting. And so I got most of my collection relatively cheap, except for a few items which I decided I definitely wanted. So, yeah.
All right, so we are going to move into some osmium. This first piece I'm throwing up is a piece of osmium nectar. So this is a hexagon in shape, and I worked with the osmium team and got it reduced price for this particular run of osmium, crystalline osmium. This is cut into the hexagon shape, which is getting it basically at its lowest price with no cut cost associated with it. So as far as stacking osmium in what I consider bullion form, or getting the most value for your buck, this is a great place to go. And it also is very cool in that as you are looking at this, it seems to shift shapes. It looks like a box sometimes, and then it jumps back to a hexagon, so I find that very cool. This is a Sparkle Grade 2, and a very beautiful piece. The Sparkle Grades, I do have a tool here that I'll use to show you the different Sparkle Grades, because there is Sparkle Grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The differences on the Sparkle Grade is, as you can see in this first window here, TheBee, as I move it around, you'll see there's a lot of little different reflection points that, with just a little bit of movement, you get a lot of movement on the piece. That's because the crystalline structure is much more refined, so the reflective points are much tighter together and many more of them. So it's a little bit smoother, or a fine finish, as if anybody has used sandpaper. You have your fine sandpaper up to your more coarse sandpaper is a great way to look at this. When you get up to the Sparkle Grade 5 over here on this edge, you're going to have larger reflection points with less reflection points. So kind of just depends on what you're planning on using this for, what type of Sparkle Grade you would want. It makes it no less valuable to have a lower Sparkle Grade. Like Sparkle Grade 1 is no less in value than the Sparkle Grade 5. As far as quality wise, it's all 5 nines, 5 plus pure osmium. So it's all high quality osmium. There's no difference in it. It really just comes down to the application or the look that you're after. So that's the difference in your Sparkle Grades. And this piece that I am offering up tonight is a again, osmium nectar. It's a hexagon, and it is Sparkle Grade 2. It is 0.2 grams, and the price is, let me get down here to it. The price is $550 on this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and also show you this on the osmium identification page. Let me see. Bring this over here. Okay, so on the osmium identification, page, what you do is you get your piece of osmium. Each piece of osmium has its own OIC, which stands for Osmium Identification Code. And that is found right here on the bottom of this box. If your piece came in a vial, it will be on your vial. This one that's on the box here is on the bottom. It starts with A, and you enter in the rest of the code FMQ7C. So I come up with this box and I put A FMQQ. There it is, grabbing it for me below. So I'll just click on that, open it up, and that will bring you all of your info on this page, bring it up for you, and shows you right here, your very piece here, you have high magnification pictures of the piece. So you can actually put this piece under a microscope, open up this picture, and compare your piece and find your high points, your large crystals, and verify that you have your piece just by looking. Each piece has its own built-in fingerprint, and it's way more defined than a human fingerprint. And so this is a metal that can't be forged or replicated, and you can't put some other type of metal or material in here because this is the most dense material known to man, and it's a metal, and to crystallize it, this high reflectivity, because it also has the highest natural reflectivity to it of any metal, and so you can't really forge or fake this type of a metal. So these high-tech, high-res images are a great way to check your piece, and you can do that manually, and or you can come to the site and enter your code in and check the rest of its dimensions. So its weight is 0.212 grams. Its main dimensions are 5.75 millimeters, secondary dimension 5 millimeters, average layer thickness 0.19 millimeters, sparkle rate 2 fine versatile sparkle, 462.4 euros. If we bring that into dollars, that brings us to 546, round up 547. So I bring that to 550 as we do $5 increments over 100. Hey, Muscle Shell, welcome in. Good to see you, Rock Moss. So this piece is going to be, I'll go ahead and pop it in there. It's going to be starting at $550 for this piece. Again, at the beginning of this auction, I went over how we run our discounts, and to do a quick review of that again. Any purchase of osmium during the auction gets you a B cell, a worker B cell, and so each auction you can gain another worker B cell by buying a piece of osmium or being the highest bidder of the night overall value, and that will get you a percentage discount. So with each cell you gain, you get an extra percentage discount. So if you bought a piece of osmium tonight here, next auction, you would have 1% discount on your osmium, and if you bought it again that auction, the next time you can, you have a 2% discount, and that goes all the way up to 6% max. So that's how we're running our discounts, and we're going to go ahead and put up this piece of osmium nectar. Let me bring up like this and zoom in. All right. And let's get it in here. Get this pulled up. So okay, so again, osmium nectar. It's a hexagon. Sparkle grade 2.2 grams. Osmium is sold by the gram. And I'll go ahead and pull up the price chart so you guys can see it. And what about you? You got any questions about osmium that you would like to throw my way?
Just there is a difference between the sparkle grades, right, and probably the weight as well. So, is it connected to the higher sparkle grades to a higher weight of the piece
Yes,
for its
yes,
size?
sir. So that's exactly right. And so, the way that it is grown, if you think of a flat plate, and
Yeah,
they put this plate in a vacuum, and it gets really hot in this vacuum, like crazy, ridiculous hot, like 9,000 degrees, and it vaporizes the metal. And of course, it's in a vacuum and all pure and clean, and they have the osmium purified, and it's vaporized, and then it's coaxed. They coax it, they say, back down onto this carbon flat plate, and so that's what it starts growing on. And so, let's say they grow it for about a week, that'll be a sparkle grade 1, and then they'll grow it another week, and that'll be a sparkle grade 2, and they'll grow it another week, and that'll be a sparkle grade 3. So it gets just deeper and deeper the longer they let it run, and so the larger the crystal structure grows, but there's no difference in quality, only the amount of metal that's actually there. So yes, the Sparkle Grade 5 has more weight because it's been allowed for more metal to grow on it. And so the Sparkle Grade 5 is a much heavier weight than a Sparkle Grade 1, but it is no better quality, if that makes sense. It's just the amount of metal that's there. So I'm going to go ahead and run this piece. I'm going to go for 3 minutes, and we'll do one more piece after that. Anybody has any questions, drop them in the chat, or feel free to ask. So what else you got? Think differently. What would you say to the stackers in America, or the people of America? What do you see in Australia? Like, I know a lot of times it seems like Australians and Americans get to talking, and they talk about freedoms and liberties, and the mind being awake to the reality of what's going on. And it seems like there's a lot of camaraderie between Australia and America.
Well, there definitely was. There definitely was. I mean, getting back to what I talked about really early on about World War II and like the Denver Mint and the San Francisco Mint producing coins for the Australia, it was really also for the American soldiers to have something to spend because Australia was basically a base for the Pacific as well as New Zealand. So they used that, those soldiers used that money, and they after Guadalcanal, a lot of I think it was Guadalcanal or it was Guam. It was one of those ones where the Marines came to Melbourne, and they did their rest and recreation here during World War II. And my dad remembers them. Some of them were really nice men, and some of them were lucky enough to be invited home to different people's homes at the time. And it's really funny because when I was in the United States, and we're talking 1988 here, so it's a long time ago.
Okay.
now. It's nearly 40 years ago now. It's like,
Yeah.
but I was there, and I went on this tour, and we went to the Grand Canyon, and we stayed at the Grand Canyon Lodge, and there was this old guy there, and he was drinking his Miller beer, and he said he found I was Australian. He said, "Oh yes, during World War II, that was I met all these girls and that when I was in Brisbane." and, and he was in recreation or R&R in Brisbane, and he said before he went on up, and but also that was some of those men. You got to realise some of those Americans that came there. That was the last time that they had vestiges. They had it like it was basically a Western life. Because they didn't make it back. They died. They died on the battlefields.
Wow. Yeah.
Different places, and thousands of them did, and many Australians did as well. So you sort of realise that Australia and America has always had this connection. Yeah, I think I remember reading about the US fleet came to Australia in 1905, and it was the biggest show out there. They came to Melbourne, I think it was, or Sydney, one of those. So yeah, they enjoyed their time in Australia. Often, a lot of them, when they were here.
Yeah,
and some of them have memories of what it was like. They came back. Some of them married women and took them back to the United States. Some of them married women here in Australia and settled in Australia and lived their lives out here. But most of them are gone now, sadly. They'd be like 100 years old if they're not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's one example of how Australia is, pretty close to the United States. And a lot of Australians like to take their vacations or holidays in America. I mean, I did it twice, and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't get to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You said the Grand Canyon. That's actually where me and my wife got married. So
really,
so yeah, on the southern rim of the Grand Canyon there.
Yeah. Well, we've all got to wonder whether big weird claims that the reason it's all closed up is because there's that much gold there it would destroy the gold market, and that's why they closed it up.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, there's all sorts of other things like there's, like I don't know, Egyptian monuments or something or other in some tunnels there. So that was one of the other things he says.
Really?
I don't know. Nobody, they won't let you find out. So that makes you very suspicious.
Right.
So, if they won't let you do something, what's there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
Is there really gold galore there? Which there probably is.
Right, makes you wonder.
I mean, there's plenty around Australia. I know that for one thing. I was listening to some fella this morning. What's his name? Is it Vogus Prospecting or something like that? Vogus, and he was talking about how it's just going out doing some gold panning and that sort of thing. But you've really got to live in a region, and there is gold here in Victoria, but the government, it seems, is like all things, are trying to crack down on. There's certain areas they won't let you do it anymore. And they're probably the most rich areas for gold. So, but, he says there are different ways of doing it. If you follow his advice, you can pick up a certain amount of gold each time you come out. It's little flecks of it or whatever. And over time, that can be if you start doing this when you're young and fit,
right,
you can build yourself a really good nest egg of gold over time if you look at it in that way, rather than I'm making money for as a job or an income. But, you know, you might strike it lucky and get a large nugget or something. But, yeah, I haven't really done that at all. So,
Yeah, you haven't done much.
no, I haven't done this. There's actually a company on the Bellarine Highway called Lucky Strike, and they sell all that stuff, the equipment, gold equipment. I think they run trips and tours or something. They'll take you out to locations where you're almost guaranteed to find some. So, yeah, I think it's probably something, and particularly in black sand. I mean, and I've seen black sand around here. There's often gold in this, like, I think it's mostly tin. I mean, it's probably something Space Miner knows more about than me, but you can find out you can find it there. It's there to be found, almost certainly.
Sure.
But you'd be lucky if you find a quarter of a gram or something when you go out doing it.
Yeah.
But with the prices the way they are now, you know,
makes you.
He did an afternoon's work, right? And he said, on this afternoon's work, I've made like $400 or something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you could probably live on that if you just did it full time, but, you know, it's...
where to go and what you were doing,
yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it's gotten so high now that maybe that's possible. I don't know. Well, I've never really looked into it.
Yeah. All right, so this last piece up here for the night of Osmium is a Sparkle Grade 4. It is a square coming in at 5 millimeters by... Oh, it's 5 millimeters squared. That's why. Average layer thickness is 0.57. It is a Sparkle Grade 4, so right up there close to Sparkle Grade 5. It comes out, so 700 euros comes out $830. And that's what this go ahead and all the time is already going on this. So you let me know if anybody's interested in this piece, and after this we will move on to the coin and then wrap it up. So we're just a little over time here, but usually I go about 2 hours. So we're going to run a little bit long here, but it's all good. Good hearing from you over, down under, or around the outside, whichever way you want to look at that. But,
oh, that's all right, yeah.
So kangaroos, are you in the area of the roos, or are they further off from you? I think you said they're a little north of you.
They're not. Look, there'd be some around here. Look, where I don't live far away from rural properties, so you know, they're probably bouncing around there in some places. But they're more. I think you got to be out a bit more than where we are, because what's happening is the whole Bellarine Peninsula is really getting very suburbanized. So they're building more and more, you know. But more than that, it's more like a lot of retirement villages and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So retirement communities. But kangaroos, I'll tell you a tale about kangaroos anyway. Where my brother-in-law, which is my wife's brother, he lives in Western Australia with his wife now. Previously, they lived here in Victoria, and he used to work for a chicken farmer here. But he really couldn't do what he wanted to do because he was really into farming. So he went to Western Australia, and so we went over there 2 years ago, and we stayed on the property. See, what happened was that in order to get somebody to go there, they really have to give you a house or have a house available for you to get you to go there, because otherwise you'll never get the right kind of person to want to work there. And because they were quite remote, so they got this. It was quite a nice house. It was a very large house, And I tell you what, we saw that there was a lot of kangaroos there, and they were the big red ones. They weren't these little grey ones. Yeah, they're quite dangerous, particularly the male ones. But if you get in contact with them, what you've got to do is you've just got to go down, not approach, go down very low, until you're almost crawling away. You know what I mean? And then they won't touch you. But if you stand up and
That's
because they're very, very dangerous. Because what they'll do is they'll grab you, and they use the back hind, which are really like razor sharp hind claws, and they'll go for your stomach, and they could actually disembowel you. No. They're that sharp.
Is that
so they're very dangerous. And what happened was I was just talking about that. And my brother-in-law's wife, her dad lives down there as well, and not on that property, but on another one. And he saw this big red, and he's thinking, "Gee, you know what? I think I might have to go and get my gun." so but don't tell the kids, because the kids sort of love it. I love the kangaroos, seeing them, and children alike. But he thought, no, we'll get rid of him. And that's what he did. He shot him.
Yeah.
So,
because
it is a threat. I mean, we got small children.
Sure.
You wouldn't want them to be in contact with a big red male. The females won't worry you. It's the big red males that are the danger.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Interesting.
So, because they're protecting their their harem, or whatever you want to call it. Their group of.
Do the males fight? Probably for the harem.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. Like like all kinds of different animals, like buffaloes and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And walruses, and they fight to be the top, the A male.
Do they kick each other with their butt? Like that's kind of
they as I said to you, how they grab a person, right? They'll try to grab the other kangaroo and use their hind legs. They're trying to, and eventually one of them backs off.
Sure.
So
so they probably disembowel each other at times as well. Then,
well, they could. I've never seen that, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
So what's the difference in you say there's the gray and the red?
Yeah, it's smaller kangaroo. The reds are really tall. Like if they stand up on their hind legs, they'll be like over 6 feet.
Okay, wow.
They're big. And you look at them, and you always hear about the boxing kangaroo, and they've got a muscular, you can see they're like it's like a really jacked guy, the muscles they have on their front, especially when they're tensed up and they're about to strike. They'll display all those muscles on that.
Yeah,
and it's really quite bizarre. It's like this guy that's jacked up with a kangaroo's head, yeah.
What's the difference in size between a gray and a red?
They're a lot smaller. They're a lot smaller. I don't know. They wouldn't get up that high, but I think you just got to be careful when you're half the size probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they not as aggressive either?
I don't know. I'd say that the males probably could be as aggressive, but I've met them on. I went out with mushrooming with one of my friends. We went out to a pine forest, with a pine plantation forest, and we were collecting mushrooms there, and we were standing there. With pine, there's two types really you can eat, and they're called, we call them, I think, slippery jacks and saffron caps. So they're an orange coloured mushroom, and the other one's like a sponge. So they're both nice. I mean, I preferably don't really go out mushrooming and that sort of thing, because you really have to know what you're doing, because there's so many dangerous ones out there. But we know these particular types are safe. So, and there are others when I get them growing in my garden, and that, after a rainstorm or something, you think, I don't know whether they'd be edible, but I'm not going to test it out. So, and I've taken pictures of them and tried to find out whether is this edible. And even with Google AI, they say, the toxicity is unknown of this one. Things like that. I'm not going to be a guinea pig. Yeah.
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 So you went up there to the pine. What were you going to say before I interrupted you?
Yeah. And we were standing there, we were collecting some mushrooms, and these two huge kangaroos came coughing our way and looked at us. I think, okay. And they looked at us, and then they thought, we're not going that way. We're going to go back the other way. We're not going to try to challenge these two people. So, yeah. They were grey ones. That was in Victoria. So, yeah. So, but there's lots of things like, Americans go on about how dangerous it is, but I really think the most dangerous things that are out there are the sharks by a long shot.
Okay. I was going to say, what other animal, like, I suppose everybody says kangaroo, but I guess you guys have, what animal do you have that's like, this is kind of a cool animal that nobody really talks about?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you one, and if anybody's here thinking of going to Australia and going to a beach and, looking through rock pools and that sort of thing here, like, there's something you should never touch. And it's called a blue-ringed octopus. It's probably one of the most poisonous creatures in the world. I saw this video.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, what it is, it's only small. It's probably, they grow probably, I don't know, a few inches across, maybe 2 to 2.5 inches, and they're really tiny little, but their beak has got a little, can bite you, and it releases venom, and you probably won't even feel it bite you if you pick it up.
Oh, wow.
So you don't even know you've been bitten, but it can cause a cardiac arrest very quickly.
Oh, wow.
So, if you see them, you just don't touch them. But I saw this video once, and this guy had picked it up, and had it in his hand, and I'm thinking, are you nuts? I was told about that when I was a little kid. and and I had seen them once in a while in rock pools and that at the beach, but it's really about gonna do it because it's got these little iridescent rings, and when they go really bright iridescent blue, it's likely to bite you.
Wow. I wonder.
If you provoke it, it's a warning sign. It's like it tells you that it's dangerous.
Upset.
It uses those. Yeah. Usually they're not iridescent like that. But if you were to find one and poke it a little bit, the iridescence would come out for sure. So yeah.
There was a little octopus. It seems like that name actually seems like it was a little octopus. And they were selling it in saltwater aquariums, but you had to have a lid that you couldn't escape out of, or like escape artist, and it was poisonous.
Oh, right.
It was poisonous. I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably that. Somebody's probably decided that's a good thing as a pet, but I don't think so. I really, particularly if you have children, it looks so cute, and its cuteness is probably its killer. Right. So,
yeah, cool, interesting.
It's only tiny.
That's just in the ocean, then I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, they're all on the. I mean, if I went looking I probably could find them around the beaches here. If I really did a hard look, I probably could find one. So, but I'd probably have to overturn a number of rocks and that sort of thing, and eventually I'd find one.
Yeah.
So, they're there, but there's probably other places where they're more prevalent, which I don't know about.
Sure. All right,
but I wouldn't touch them.
3 minutes on this ancient Attic Aegina stater. the obverse of a sea turtle. It is the second edition. It has the 5 NQ skewed punch on the back, and 510 to 500 PC, 12 grams of silver, and it's got a pedigree back to 1989. Oh, it's very cool. And after this, we will wrap it up. Very cool having you on. I'll have to have you back on. I'd like to talk a little bit more. I can hear in your conversation your awareness of, what would you say, freedoms or rights, or, and I think to talk with you on that, or in Australia about that. I feel like here in America, we are kind of the last bastion. Like we're the main card that needs to fall right now. And then to me,
I definitely think that.
You kind of see what I'm saying there? Like, if we can
the last place where guns are, like
guns, freedom, action. What would you say? The ability for you to just have control of your own life. And I don't know. I feel like that's a privilege that we have, and we're raised that, we've got now that I'm awake and seeing it, I can see those are being stripped away at a high rate of speed. And
I mean, just look at the taxation. Land tax and things like that. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, even here in Australia, you're staggered by it. And it's propping up a whole lot of agendas and woke government that you don't necessarily agree with.
For sure.
And that's the worst. You're paying for it. You're paying for something that you don't agree with.
Paying for your own enslavement. And that's kind of and I feel like if they can pull us down, which they're doing a great job of at the moment, but I feel like if we would stand up to it, then that might help the rest of the world have some.
Well, they'd listen if everybody just stopped paying their taxes, but I'm not advocating that.
Well, I understand not advocating, but at the same time, like you say, I mean, when you really look at it, at some point, if the lawlessness continues and the Epstein type reality keeps coming out, at some point you kind of got to say to yourself, look, you're literally paying for your own children to be enslaved, to have their rights ripped from them. And so, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on the U.S. We would wake up and stand together and fight back on this. I feel like we would kind of be we're one of the few who would have the ability to come somewhat stem the tide of what they're trying to do. So,
although there is still hope. I mean, like we have this party in Australia called One Nation, and it's been around for 30 years, and it was started by a woman by the name of Pauline Hanson. And she's just been there and said the same stuff she said 30 years ago, and now it's starting to resonate with Australians because they're losing their freedom. And they really want somebody to change things and allow things to go. But there's so much debt, it's not going to change. There's going to have to be a new monetary system. Probably everywhere.
Yeah, like that's a for sure. And I feel like if we get tricked into this tracking system that you were referring to earlier, kind of game over. But if we would wake up enough to see the reset, allow the reset, but go to real money, go to something real. Because otherwise,
it needs to be real.
This false reality, except with tons of control and programmable money. My goodness, what a nightmare.
But part of that is the tokenization, and And, it was something really bizarre I found out, like, that RMIT is involved in. And it's something called a digital twin. I don't know whether you've heard that before. Like, this is the way that, things are done. So, you have something real and you have a digital twin of that and ownership of that as a token, right?
Yeah.
And I found out with one of my ex-girlfriends from years ago, was because she was a computer scientist programmer, and she's at RMIT University now, and she's the one that's working on this. And she wrote a paper on, I don't know, what was it called? AI and all that stuff years ago, like 15 years ago. So, or more than that, before I knew her.
Wow.
And you find these things out, and you run and realize you've got connections between these things. You know what I mean? And they're making it happen.
Yeah.
But I suppose if she wasn't doing it, somebody else would.
Oh yeah.
That's the whole thing,
Right. Yeah, it has to be an awakening. And sadly, I'm not seeing it. At COVID, right? How did we get through that and not have more people? Now, there are people, amazingly, even the further we get away from COVID, the more people are waking up. Like, I would have thought right out of the gate, this is going to bring a lot of people back to reality. But amazingly, it's more now, years after, where more people start to wake up to what actually happened then.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to watch.
Look, people believe what they want to believe. Sorry, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And no amount of demonstrating to you a person and showing them the evidence is going to change some people's mind. But there are enough people out there that can change their mind. But there's still a long way between. I mean, I don't know. I've spoken to so many people about what to do, how to protect yourself. And, a lot of them just go, they start yawning and
Well, you're, hearing your story, you're a bit older than me. Like, I was born in the 80s.
I was born in the 60s, so early 60s.
And I found a lot of my elders, 10 years above me or so, are usually, like, my dad is actually starting to come around to some things just these past 3-4 years where, it's, I don't know, the elder people have gotten so hooked into mainstream media, they don't realize that it's complete propaganda,
Oh, yeah.
And so, it's interesting to see you have, like, I can really tell from the emails that you sent, the little talk that we had here, you're hooked on to all these things and have been on them for quite a while. But
for many years. And for many years, I knew a lot of this stuff years ago. And I'm thinking, gee, this is so serious. And nobody seems to, and it's just right before your eyes. But most people just couldn't see it. Most people still can't.
Yeah.
They're completely blind to it. And as you're saying about the mainstream media, and, it's like, you go back to the whole COVID thing, like, how mainstream media was sort of, denigrating anybody who didn't like the idea of getting the so-called vax, which wasn't a vaccination at all for a start, but that's another matter. But, and when Daniel Andrews sort of, who was the premier at the time here, and he said, you have to get if you want a job. And I thought, who are you to tell me how to live?
Right.
And after that, I basically never switched the TV on.
Yep. I haven't. I
just after that happened, I just stopped watching mainstream television completely.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah.
And I just.
Your health increases when you shut that trap off.
Yeah, and I just sort of thought, well, I'm not watching this anymore. You've got all these people that are basically insulting me all the time
Yeah.
on my decision. They didn't realise that probably at the time. And you had all these celebrities, talking about why you need to get vaccinated and how you need to protect grandma and all this nonsense.
Get a dozen free Krispy Kreme donuts to go along with it.
Oh, I don't know. There probably was something like that.
Yeah, and here's your favorite pop star.
Yeah, I really wish that whole series but it really opened to my eyes as to what a psyop was. If you want to find out how to recognise a psyop, the best thing to do is to go to a guy by the name of Chase Hughes. He looks into that a great deal. Yeah. So if you go, because he's an ex-CIA, agent or something, intelligence officer.
Yep. Yeah, he's studied on how to do these mind psyops in countries.
Yeah, and basically he there's one where he says how to recognise a psyop, and I think if you listen to that, you need to take notes.
Yeah,
because they give a list of all the different things that you should do to recognise it, and like you look at the whole code, it was a psyop. I'm telling you now.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
And it was everything that he listed. And I'm telling this stuff, but your channel's very small, so it's not really going to a very large.
Oh no, don't worry about it.
I mean, I probably if I was talking, I wouldn't want to be talking on one of those bigger ones like Liberty and Finance or one of those, because I'd probably get a knock from the door from the government.
Yeah. Yep.
So
there was.
And you have like-minded people listening to this, so
Well, that's what this channel is for. So I mean, they really had a crackdown around COVID too, and then they opened it back up. Like lots of channels that got shut down suddenly were allowed to come back on in the last year.
Yeah, they have, because there's a lot more information that's been found out, but they're still not releasing a lot of statistics out there, and a lot of statistics have gone sort of hidden, particularly around cancers and that sort of thing. And you say, that's the question, why is that the case?
Yep.
Shouldn't the public know if there's a major outbreaks of cancer in the community, and start asking the questions, well, why did that happen? Who got it? And all that sort of, what do they call it, epidemiological stuff that they do to figure out the origins of disease. And they're hiding stuff, and that's what really annoys me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Hiding it deliberately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do this again. We'll have you back on, and we'll dive down a little bit further down the rabbit hole next time. But yeah, it's for sure a psyop. It has been a psyop, and much of this stuff, like I say, they let a lot of people come back on here of late, but I think that it's kind of a trap as well. Like, you look at what's happening with travel and flight, and which I've been paying attention to, watching them change. They've been all these in the U.S. A lot of the airports have been shut down and going through construction and open back up. Now it's like a barn made for herding and cows and corralling them. And I'm saying that to travel, you have to have your past 5 years of social media looked through before they'll allow you in. So,
oh well, I mean, maybe I'll never get to the United States again while this goes going on.
That's right there at the gate. I mean, people have been saying, "Oh, credit score, that's so rigged." Well, that is what that is.
That's what it is, and I definitely know I'd fail. I'd fail big time.
Yeah, well, my
you know,
help, right? Like, so, and that's why I think they're letting these other channels back on. Is they're watching who's watching them. They're watching. Okay, are you still having the same chance? And like you say, it's probably jumped over to AI now. They're probably got a bunch of folders. People like,
yeah, I mean, they're probably profiling me and saying, "Oh, that guy, he's a danger to society."
right?
And it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah,
couldn't be.
That's what's amazing. It is literally truth it will set you free in reality, but in the false reality in which we live, it condemns you. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it can last, though. We hope.
Right.
But then, yeah.
Go ahead.
But then again, the Soviet Union lasted for 70 years, and China's never really. Yeah. I mean, they're putting all these systems in place to control, but I'm gonna reveal something to you, right?
Sure.
All that's going to take. In the 1850s, they had what was called the Carrington event, where it, basically there was a major solar flare or something or other, and you saw aurora all over the world. Like, I don't know whether you've seen the Northern Lights and where you are, but normally they're not visible. I've never seen them here in Victoria.
When I go up, I've been up north to Alaska, and that's when I see them.
Yeah, you'll see them there. But, this went worldwide, and apparently, because the only thing that they had was the telegraph line, and they were clicking and clattering on their own without a battery. So there was a major, and that would basically destroy a lot of the electronics, probably most of the satellites that got exposed to it. So that whole control structure will come to an end. But the problem is, a lot of people. The problem is with that. At the same time, it'll come to an end. But a lot of people would die as well because they're all dependent on these systems that exist in this world. And most people, we all are. Let's think about it. And
when you look into it, the elite that's kind of their goal. They want to do an event that would kill off a large part of the population. So don't think that they won't try to pull it. Like, if it's possible.
No, and that's probably why they've got all these deep underground things as well, bases and to be away from all of that. So bunkers, the billionaire bunkers and all that stuff.
All these, there's a lot of underground tunnels that trucks drive right into, and we're unaware of.
Yeah, floated with stuff, and I don't know.
All right, cool, man. Well, I'll let you go for tonight. I greatly appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah, that's all right. Thanks for everything.
Good night here. There wasn't much going on, but I haven't done an auction in like a few months, so you got to kind of do these repetitively for people to show up. So hopefully, I'll get them going.
Hopefully, got a few people listen or watch later on. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, bud. Well, we'll do it again sometime.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Thanks. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.